He's not wearing a suit. You didn't tell him to wear a suit?
Well, he got the tie.
He's got a tie.
He took the middle road.
So we can choke him if we need to during the show. Okay, that's good to know. Our guest tonight is Drew Demeter, who makes YouTube videos promoting liberty. He's only 14 years old. We're really excited to have him on as an example of what you can do with today's technology and to show how much of a dinosaur I am at a mere 30 years of age, still trying to keep up with the kids. When I look to the next generation, and as much as I appreciate being 30 and knowing people who are my age and younger grew up with the internet and don't have any tolerance for the kind of problems that exist for lack of information, the ones that grew up with smartphones in their pockets, the ones that have the power of the internet right here, when they go to the government-run propaganda centers, that is what's really going to change the mentality. I can't imagine a generation of high school students like Drew here graduating and allowing statism to continue. It just doesn't add up to me. Drew, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me on.
So you're 14. Tell us first your own political development story. How did you get to the point where you were even aware enough to be compelled to make YouTube videos?
Honestly, the last recollection I can really have is this past summer, I was at my friend's house, and we were just basically screwing around on YouTube, searching random things.
Who does that?
And to my best knowledge, we came across a video entitled Denver Airport Conspiracy, and that kind of hit things off for me. At that time, actually, though, I didn't even know what a conspiracy theory was, but after watching the video, I don't know if it was the paranoia or the fear-mongering that really set in, but I started to question authority, and it just made me think twice and become more conscious, really, of what control authority has and the propaganda they put out, and it just basically made me more conscious of the information that I deal with.
So you can point to that specific video and say that it was the one about the Denver airport conspiracy that got you started. Explain that, and why was that such a compelling gateway for you?
Well, really, I try to think of it that, well, it was a video by Jesse Ventura, actually, his conspiracy theory TV show. It was an episode from that, and it didn't seem like much to me initially because I just saw there were, the main conspiracy is that there's murals on the wall depicting apocalyptic events, a police state and military invasion, the death of peace, basically. And from that, I didn't think much of it. But beyond that, I had heard that in recent years, they actually covered up those murals from the airport, whether or not that was because people were catching on to the idea of the New World Order or whatever it may be, or if it was just simply out of fear of people thinking that there was some hidden agenda behind those images, or those murals, rather. But I think that really revealed to me that, again, through authority, authority doesn't always tell the truth, and there may be alternate agendas behind that. And additionally, that you just can't really trust authority. And the really revelation that hit me throughout that show was that also under the Denver airport there were railroads or some form of transit under there, and just massive bunkers and stuff, allegedly for the government if there was some civil war or some outbreak in war and something. So that really was a defining moment in my realization, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and regardless of what you believe about how much craziness is behind the Denver airport, it is at least spooky as all hell. And really gets you thinking about, why is the government, why the hell is there this giant blue horse with red eyes outside of a government facility? Like, what message are they trying to send here? But Drew, what was this a gateway to? What do you think, were there any books or any other YouTube channels or any other critical body of knowledge that you've been really trying to absorb over the past year?
Well, I've definitely, since the episode of the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory, I've definitely been following that show, and I've been thrilled that they've revived it in this past season, although I am kind of disappointed they didn't get to air the TSA episode that I really would have loved to see, and it's not even leaked on YouTube, unfortunately. But channels like Alex Jones, although he may be a fearmonger and a lot of people don't agree with his controversial views, but he definitely captures the essence and the passion of the liberty movement, whether to gain views and money and all that sort of deal. So definitely Alex Jones. I'm sure you're familiar with Luke of We Are Change, his whole movement.
Absolutely.
Of course, you. Recently, I've been awakening my friends kind of inadvertently because I've shown them some of your videos. The best one that I just recently rediscovered was the TJ dance party at the Jefferson Memorial. That was absolutely hilarious, and I give you mad props for
everything but my dancing skills, right? Okay. So let me ask then, when you show other high school students that video, what's their reaction when they see someone? And for those of you that don't know, you can see that video on our YouTube channel. But people in a group that was with me there, non-violently protesting an ordinance about dancing, ending up being violently assaulted by the police. So how do high school students react when they see that?
Well, I really only showed a couple of my friends actually, but one of my friends, David, who's probably watching this right now, shout out to him. He was just kind of laughing at first, and then just seeing the brutality of the police just throwing you on the ground for doing nothing illegal to my knowledge, but I just really couldn't believe it, nor could any of my friends. And although it was a funny video, it really awoke them to the probable or possible police state in the future if it's not already effective right now.
Well, I think more importantly, the point of that, and even if people don't get it consciously, is that when the government says something is illegal, it's not please don't do that. It's if you do that, we're going to mess you up. We're going to hurt you. We are going to physically assault you. We are going to put you in a cage by force. But tell us, so what are the most compelling topics for you? What are your videos about, and what are you trying to do to reach out to fellow high school students?
Primarily about, they're primarily rooted in politics. However, I do also cover some controversial topics such as I can't think of any really off the top of my head, but I cover other stuff than just government stuff, such as abortion and other stuff non-politically oriented. But I think the videos are really good for the awakening of people. And again, as soon as I saw that Denver airport video, that's really the last time that I could recollect consciously awakening really from mental enslavement of authority, really. And people that I show the video to, or videos rather, my peers being a prime example, is that they get the message, but again, a lot of it's mixed reviews. As with any endeavor you really take in life, you're going to get haters and you're going to get people who like your content. After you shouted out one of my videos on Facebook, I actually got one of your viewers saying that he'd elect me for Congress if it was in his power. So that was pretty compelling and empowering. But other than that, my peers at school and stuff, I haven't showed the majority of my school, I guess, but the immediate friends that I have showed, it's good to know that they're awakening to things that they ordinarily wouldn't be exposed to, such as third-party candidates. Some of my teachers at school, they didn't even know third-party candidates existed, so it just shows how much...
Wait.
Was it a government school?
These are teachers? They're teaching you stuff?
Yeah.
They're not teaching Drew anything. Drew's teaching himself.
Thank you. But... yeah, so some really don't even know, but I actually emailed the principal of my teacher who never even responded, which was kind of disheartening. But we had a mock election on election day, obviously, and they didn't even throw in the third-party candidates, and I was very upset with that. So I wrote him a whole long, thoughtful email, and unfortunately he didn't respond, and they weren't included on the ballot. But that
are you telling me that now Gary Johnson also has to sue for mock election high school ballot access? That's ridiculous.
That would be great. But actually, on that mock election on the ballot, I put I crossed out Mitt Romney and put the Federal Reserve, and then I crossed out Obama and put
Goldman Sachs.
And then I wrote Gary Johnson, libertarian candidate, and all that good stuff. And I didn't turn it in because I'm afraid like that, but what a statement.
So you're in a government-run propaganda center on a daily basis, right? Tell us about your educational situation and how this discovery process for you over the last year may have changed your understanding or your relationship with that institution.
Not only in schools and stuff, but we are obviously faced with propaganda every day, whether it's in the media or in literature, websites, anything basically. But I mean, specifically in my government and religion classes, we are fed a little bit of propaganda, specifically in my theology class, but that's a whole nother rant. But government, it's not that bad considering we're learning world civ. So, considering that it's past history, it's not as biased, or not biased, but I guess we're not fed as much propaganda as we could be if it was modern history, like 9/11.
Well, you think the government can teach you ancient history and not have a state bias? I think maybe the most effective propaganda is the stuff that you don't even notice is propaganda.
Very true. But yeah, that's a good point.
Do you think about your school differently now that you understand what the government's motives in taking over the education industry might be?
Well, I feel that educating is definitely the role of a school, but I also feel that educating yourself is important because if you just blindly assume and accept the authoritarian command that you receive and you don't question it and you don't influence your own opinions, then I think that's stupid. And in that sense, you should teach yourself. But also, I feel that the textbooks and the government run propaganda, I guess, is biased in a sense, and I don't fully think that we're getting the transparent picture. But then again, since we are, to me, learning about ancient history or history in the past, I don't see it as big of a problem. But for modern history, when I take government class in the future, I'm sure that the opinions will be skewed either left or right. And for example, for gun control, we'll get a false picture of the truth.
What would you tell your fellow high school students if you had them all as a captive audience and you could tell them one thing about why they should care as much about these issues as you do? What would it be?
That's a tough question, but I think I don't think I'd necessarily focus on one issue facing our culture or our government, but I do think that I'd tell them that they should care about this because it influences them in many more ways than they think. And for example, just gun control, I guess. I mean, everyone, there's a mix and mash of people with different opinions on Facebook, for example, a form of social media, saying their view on gun control. And a lot of my friends argue that guns should be taken away because guns kill people, etc. And I think that that's an example of something that they don't think is going to affect them in the future. But if you take away the Second Amendment, and for the people who think that gun control is a good thing, for example, I tell my parents this too. I mean, if a civil war breaks out, a handgun's not really going to do too much for you. And so I think in that sense, if I had a captive audience, I just tell them to pay more attention and research these topics themselves and discover how they can really influence them more than they think.
So what's your YouTube channel and where can people find out more about you?
It is called Teen Take, so youtube.com/Teen Take, and I don't have a Facebook page or a website right now, so that's really my only form of communication, but I will be looking at
that
that.
explains how you found me, Drew. Did I tell you how this kid found me?
No.
He found my YouTube channel, I don't know how, went to send me a message and said, "Hey, I'm a 14-year-old spreading the good word. Would you mind helping out?" And I said, "Boy, are you in luck."
Well, I hope this does. Drew, best of luck. 1 million more subscribers to you on your YouTube channel. I hope everybody from Adam vs. the Man checks us out when they see it. Ladies and gentlemen, Drew Demeter, 14-year-old, making YouTube videos, spreading the message. Really appreciate having young voices on the show like this. Amanda, thank you so much. I think that's an inspiration, and it's wonderful to see this is the kind of person that's going to be putting me out of business. I love it. You just have to get one neocon at a time
No.
to put down the
Don't
guns
try
of
to
government.
You, as a free, beautiful, independent human being with inalienable rights, own yourself.
Why don't you sit down and study some of the things that Mitt Romney actually teaches?